are back. Please welcome. You may have recognized him from being here on this show before, because that's the only other place. This is the second time he's been on the show. The first time I don't remember as well. So please welcome the very funny. No, I will remember. I'm sorry, DC. Please welcome the very funny Mr. DC Benny.
DC Benny is here, ladies and gentlemen.
DC Benny is a stage name. My name is Ben Wartofsky. Okay, I grew up in Washington D.C. When I came to, my dad's from Brooklyn. I came to New York. I started doing comedy. I was working in mostly in the black rooms. Okay, I was a white guy working in the black rooms, and nobody could say my last name. Who would bring me on stage? Wartofsky it's not a very familiar name. And there was a guy who hosted named Uncle Jimmy Mack, who died in the Tracy Morgan car accident. And Jimmy Mack named everybody. He gave like you get made when you're funny in those clubs. So like there was a guy named Brooklyn Mike that became Brooklyn Mike, and everybody. And so he could never say my name. So he's like, "You're from DC. You're Benny. You became DC Benny." And it just kind of stuck. And that's really what. Yeah, but people think I'm going to come up there with turntables and a mic or something. That's the derivation of it all. Now, I've been in New York for the majority of my comedy years. This is, started in DC like late 80s. And, I saw Chappelle when he was 14 and Tommy Davidson and Patton Oswalt. We used to work together, and Blaine Capatch. And a lot of, there was a place called Garvin's that we all kind of worked at. And a place called Slapsticks in Baltimore, and a place called Comedy Cafe, and they had a strip club downstairs. So I started there, and then a guy named Tony Woods, who was sort of the original Dave Chappelle, had a lot of rooms there, and then I came to New York because this is where this is really the Mecca to me. It's people talk about Austin, Texas, and this and that, and L.A. New York is the Mecca, okay, of great comedy, and I think. People can argue about it, but this is where you get really good and hone your craft. So early 90s, I moved here, lived in the Bronx, lived in Times Square across from Show World. I got a nice flavor of the city, and then moved to Brooklyn. That's sort of a little bit of the history,
Now, I know you've also you got the stand up, and again tomorrow night at McGuire's, but I know there's some acting chops going on here. Now you've done some soap operas, you've done Law and Order, so there's one scene in particular, Law and Order. You're sitting at the computer and you discover something, and then you give you look back at the detective, you give her the dramatic pause. Give us your best dramatic pause face right now.
I looked at the computer. This doesn't seem like a mysticular simulation or whatever. It was the closest I ever got to be in a doc. But yeah, I've done a bunch of Law and Orders. There was a movie called Illegal Tender, a John Singleton movie that I was the main bad guy in. I was a recurring bad guy in what the hell was that? As the World Turns and Days of Our Lives. I was in all that kind of stuff, and a bunch of movies, TV shows, Cosby Show. What else? I'm on this Amy Schumer show now, Life and Beth. Play Michael Cera's dad.
Oh, nice.
That's been a great gig. And Supermarket Sweep. Leslie Jones brought me in to do the Supermarket Sweep. So I'm all over the place, and I've kind of written and shot my own stuff as well and put it out on YouTube or whatever. But it's all stand-ups. Stand-ups what I love, though. Stand-up, going up there telling stories and all that is what I love to do. And the acting, it helps pay bills and all of that.
Speaking of the stand-up, I'm not gonna give you bits away, but there are certain things, like the gay buying the sandwich, with all the initials, and the IKEA bit. I just think it's some of the most clever shit I've ever seen, man. I think you're fantastic.
God bless you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
It was like last year, And I remember it was just you had a few comics on before him, but he went up to a dead room because for some reason everyone else was like not good, and but I watched him take the room, and it took him only about a minute and a half to 2 minutes, and then boom, they were on his side and they loved him the entire time. Yeah. So he does a great job up there.
Well, I actually two summers ago I hosted at McGuire's. Joey was the headliner that night, and then DC was a late Ed on Joe. I think Joey personally asked you to come join him. I think it was.
Did me a solid and threw me up. Yeah, I love that. Great guy.
That was the night we met. I hosted that show, and you were just fantastic. Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
Guys, I appreciate it. It's a great room. It's nice to do comedy in Long Island, and I'm looking forward to performing tomorrow. Hopefully, some folks come out for this weekend. With this holiday weekend, we got some beautiful weather. We'll see what happens. We'll be good. It'll be good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, unlike everybody else, I actually have not met you or gotten to see you yet, but your name has been sort of synonymous with Rob White. I believe you has contacted you and asked you for advice and whatnot. Do you know who I'm talking about?
I coach guys and up in storytelling, and he's a great dude.
I've only heard great things about you, but in the last year or so, I think Rob White has reached out, and I just know you've given fantastic advice to him. He has said as much, and he has repeated some of it, and you're a legit dude for sure.
I'm glad it's helped him, and we got to do more of that amongst ourselves. Spread the love. We've been doing it a long time. It's our responsibility to pass along what we've learned. So not everybody, this is a hard business. It's really hard for young comics coming up, and so if they can not make some of the mistakes, it's always that's always good. I mean, if I can be, and Joey Cole is like that too. He does the same kind of thing. Some guys who've been in it a while get kind of threatened, and they don't want to help out some of these younger guys or whatever. But I mean, what are we going to do? You got to help these guys. So.
I always say that a lot of people say that we have a very collegial, like at the open mic kind of starting out phase. It's very nice, and people are like, oh, it was never like that growing up. I credit guys like you, Joey, Carrie Karavis, because you guys all do make time and whatnot, and it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, Karavis is great, and it's a pleasure for me to do that. To try and because there really wasn't anybody doing that with me. I mean, Tony Woods kind of helped me out a little bit, but a lot of the guys, wouldn't. They don't want to share. They're kind of go figure it out yourself and make your own mistakes. And if nobody helped Kevin Hart out, he would have made a lot more mistakes, and he may not have been. But people gave him some really good advice. He actually called me about, if you've seen that Mark Twain award thing, Keith Robinson was talking about how Kevin Hart called him about what manager should I choose. And I guess Keith told Kevin, call me, because I was with the guy he ended up choosing. I had worked with that guy, and I gave him some good advice, because the other guys that he was going to choose were not, that were in the mix, would not have, it wouldn't have been as good for him. And I'm not taking credit, but I'm just saying it's a thing that, we pass that stuff along. You have a bad experience with somebody who robs you. These guys need to know that when you'll go with this guy, he's not going to rob you,
But how does it work when you're coaching somebody like Linda Marcus Smith? Is she always trying to hit on you? She throws herself at us. It's crazy.
She's out of her mind. It's like you just got to rein her in, is the thing. She has some funny stuff, but it's just, I don't want to talk about one person in particular, but there's just a type of person that just has a voluminous amount of output that it's kind of like you lose traction, when you because there's so much coming out that you can't build a foundation. It's like harness that, rein it in a little bit and build your foundation, and then you can, it's all the stream of consciousness, or get to the punchlines. let those guide you. The punchline will guide you. So I think we made some great progress. She sends me emails all the time about how the stuff I told her really helped her out. So that was good, because she was, she's a wild card. She's a wild card.
Use the punchline, Linda Marcus Smith.
No, she's a lot of fun, and
yes,
she's a good sport. Yeah, but be careful. She's moving to New York, so we all have to be careful.
I'm out here, man. I'm in the booty.
And was when you did Ferguson, was that your debut doing your stand up on TV, or you had done it before?
Ferguson I did twice, but I did Showtime at the Apollo first. I don't know if I have the one up on YouTube. I think the second or the third one's on YouTube. But the first time I was on TV was Showtime at the Apollo. I had auditioned for Def Jam, and I got a standing ovation after a guy who went on with 6 strippers. There was a place in West Orange, New Jersey, called the Peppermint Lounge. And this is where you do the Def Jam auditions. And they were going to choose a white guy. There was a rumor that there would be the first white guy on Def Jam. So I went there. This guy went on before me with 6 strippers and did kind of told jokes, and they stripped, and the place went nuts. And then the closing joke, at the closers, one of the strippers pulled a lighter out of somewhere. She was naked. I don't know where it came from. And lit her pubic hair on fire, and then patted it out. And the place just went crazy. I don't even remember what jokes the guy told, but and the guy who booked it was like, yeah, you're not going to follow that. And I'm like, well, I got no choice. Throw me up there. So I went up there with a fire extinguisher. I pulled off the wall and was like spraying it in the air. I got a standing ovation there. And then Def Jam never happened, but the lady who booked the Apollo saw me and said, look, come by and be on standby this Sunday. And we'll see if we can get you up or whatever. And Sunday came, everybody was getting booed off the show. Steve Harvey got booed off. He came off, his toupee was all tilted. The producer came out, she got booed off. And then she came to me and she's like, listen, we're going to put you out there. Do whatever you got to do. So Steve Harvey came back out, gave a big speech about how there's no opportunities for black comedians. You can't, and performers, you can't be booing people off. And then he's like, all right, now we're going to bring this guy. Whatever. Worse than the Chris Kattan thing. And I just came out and I was like surprised, and people started laughing, and I had a great set there. And it was my first TV. It really got the ball rolling for me, but was doing Showtime at the Apollo, so I'm always grateful for that. It was under duress. I mean, there was 2 comics that were a team that were supposed to go on. They're like, we're not going on. There's no way we're going on. So that's
but you bring up an interesting point, and you've actually used it in your act a little bit. You're talking about coming on as a white guy, but you pass for Spanish. You have a lot of multi-ethnical. I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
That's the most Long Island question you've asked.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Do you vote?
Nobody knows what I am, but it helps because I do a lot of characters, and I think that in the climate now, the comedy climate now is characters. People get so offended for somebody else. There's always people getting offended and this and that. And for me, the authenticity of the character is if the people that you are doing it sort of about, that segment of the population comes up and is like, that was hilarious. That no one's offended there. That to me is what it's all about. I don't really care what some college kid thinks about if they think I may have offended somebody by default in the 3rd degree in a reversal. But you know what I mean? It's like if I try to keep it authentic and funny and loving. I feel like it's an homage and not looking down on people. You're finding a connection with whoever if I'm doing the super of the building, or if I'm doing this guy, that guy, or the Asian deli guy, or whatever it is. It's out of it's out of the humanity of it, and so I think that gets lost a lot. I don't know if it's so funny to talk about, but I think it gets lost a lot, especially where everybody's so uptight now about there's this climate where comedy, I think it's changing a little bit, but where we have all these constraints on us where we can't just do what we need to do, which is make people laugh. And if you get offended, look at the next guy, find what you like. But we can't be censoring comedy. It's got to be what it is.
Agreed.
So my theory is, and I'm wondering what your thoughts on would be, like, I truly believe you can make a joke about anything, but you have to be funny, not grinding an axe. Like, you're just going for the humor of it, not trying to make a statement or anything. Just be funny.
Yeah, I think you can make a joke about just about anything, and then there's a little bit of a time quotient thing but I think it comes from where you're at. And I saw a lot of the younger comedians who are like, I'm just going to do an edgy rape joke, or I'm going to do a joke about Jesus, or whatever it is, just to be edgy. And it's like, do it if it's funny, but it's like part of the repertoire. It's like part of I think that happened a little bit before the political correctness stuff, that there was a trend where it was just like, you'd sit there and there'd be the 5 categories, and it'd be like some morbid shit, and it'd be like the rape thing, and then it'd be like a blasphemous thing, and then it would be something with anal. There's always something with anal or eating ass. That was a big...
Well, I have a Greek guy sitting next to me. Of course, it's always about anal.
I mean, that's
Yes, it is your entire act. Yes.
I listen. I stand by it. Like, if you can do it, you just be clever. Be
Right.
clever about how you get it out there.
Right.
I mean, everything can be like done, but you just gotta be clever about it. But like, I don't know. How do you make rape? No, I'm joking.
And really, we don't get much more clever than our guest here, DC Benny. Tonight, tomorrow night at McGuire's. Jeez, I don't know why I keep screwing that up. I'm a mess here. I'm trying to fix the audio issues, and I think I got it all working.
I'm just going to bring up, while you try to get that date out, I just want to say, this gentleman has the most amazing, beautiful smile, and I might be conforming to the gay side. I don't know.
Stop hitting on our guests.
I can't help it.
So go ahead. Did you?
No, is that thank God. When he was saying that it was tonight, I was like, shit, I've got something way out east. Damn it. But thank God it's tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Because now I might actually be able to make it.
There you go.
Sweet.
Do you still have the podcast with Ben Bailey?
No, we did that for a while, but just Ben was on the road a lot, and then I had to schlep out to Jersey to do it from his studio he made in. But we had great guests, Lou Diamond Phillips and Ray Romano and Janine Garofalo, and just random. And there was one episode where I guess it was the guys from there's that fishing show where where they go out in the water, and it's really the greatest catch, or it's kind of dangerous. They go out.
Deadliest Catch or something
Deadliest Catch. I think that's it.
Those guys, Bailey had them on, and he knew them from Discovery Channel, and he'd given them some advice about how to, navigate. They weren't showbiz guys; they were fishermen. So how to navigate not getting screwed by the Discovery Channel, and one of them came on the podcast with whatever, the captain or whatever, and he was just hammered. He was hammered the whole time. He kept going to Bailey. He's like, "You're a nerd. You're a nerd." I don't know if it's funny me telling it, but it's so funny to be there. Bailey's trying to get him to talk about fishing, and then, "You're a nerd." So anyway, yeah, so we don't do that. We keep in touch. We're really good friends. We were in the trenches together, and we did a web series called Stakeout, where we're 2 cops in a car during a stakeout, just talking about our lives. And that was really funny. We've done a lot of stuff together. So he's a great friend, and great to, one of the things I always say you make these friends in the business, and you start out with nothing, and on the way you just collaborate. You collaborate on projects. You shoot your own stuff, and that's what gives you the power. So you aren't, behooving to comedy clubs. Really choosing whether or not you can be there. You build your own audience. You have your own. You empower yourself. So I think that's an important aspect of it. Is finding, creating, like you guys have created there's the three of you sitting there. You got a little vehicle going, and that's the way it should be. Instead of everybody not kind of meshing. You find like-minded people, and you create stuff and shoot it, and that's I love that. So I don't do as much of it anymore like I used to, but I love doing that. So
well said. Yeah, because that's exactly it. You got to trying to make something happen one way or another, right? So yeah. So it is. It's time for us to go. So again, tomorrow night at McGuire's, govs.com, govs.com. Go check out DC Benny. You will not be disappointed. Let them know where can they find you, and find your other upcoming dates, whatever you got going on.
There, I have a YouTube channel, DC Benny YouTube channel. I don't post a lot of dates or whatever. People want coaching or whatever, they can reach out through the Instagram. And but I do, I've got a special on Bill Burr's channel, the All Things Comedy. I've got a Dry Bar special on YouTube they can check out. There's a 800-pound gorilla special on YouTube they can check out. And I'm working on. I don't know if this is gonna be my last one, but I have this hour that I wrote during COVID, and I keep chipping away at it. So I'm going to work it tomorrow night. I'm excited to work it. Some funny stuff in it.
Oh, that's awesome. Get some new stuff.
Have me on it. Wish you lots of luck. And I'll see you around in the clubs. Okay.
If you could just if you don't mind, give us the Instagram address again.
Real DC Benny, the real DC Benny, I believe, is the Instagram. Now I gotta look.
I'm just having these audio issues. So I just want to make sure that
I'm going to say just type in DC Benny, and then you won't be able to swing a dead cat without hitting.
There you go.
Something DC
Benny. It's what it is. They can hit me on Instagram and follow, and I do post clips there and update. When I'm going to be around and stuff. But thanks for for promoting the show, guys. It was nice talking to all of you, and I wish you all the best of luck in this crazy business. All right. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
That was awesome.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, hopefully all the audio came out.
Okay.
I think it did.
Oh, okay.
I was switching back and forth to make the Zoom audio, and
right there it didn't work. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm switching back and forth. I'm having all sorts of issues here today. So
I say that was awesome again and again and again. Okay.